Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. It is your boy Road Dogg here with the man, the myth, the survivor, the legend himself, the king on top of the hill, Mr. Karl Bryan.
Oh,
shoot.
Is that how
there's so much to say? Yeah. There's so much to say, and there's so little time. So much high praise for the big man. What's going on, bud? You're recovered. You're back. You're running laps around pools.
Yes, for everybody listening, I just had to chase. I never let my dogs in the office on the mornings when we do the podcast, and of course, I broke that rule like a real smart son of a gun. And lo and behold, the pug decides to wake up and starts barking as we're about to start, and then she decides to run away from me because she doesn't want me to pick her up. So I just spent the last 5 minutes running around my backyard getting the pug. But anyway, so there you go, Shoots. That's how my morning's going.
The visual that some people must have, like for how short I portray you to be. So a short man chasing a pug, like just that visual. Oh my God. He's not that short, folks. He's like a solid 5'3.5". Okay. Like he's not that short. So,
oh God.
There.
All right, Shoots.
What do you think? Are you good? You're good? All right. Listen, we're going to go back to basics today, bud. I got a couple questions here. The first one, I just think this is back to basics 101 type stuff. Always a fantastic question because like anything, I'm sure you're going to answer this question differently than you would have even 6 months ago. So the question was best advice for getting started as a business coach. I just think it's a fantastic question because obviously we always have new business coaches joining us on the show. So I figured this would be a fantastic question to throw in there. So what do you say to somebody that's brand new and just the best advice for just getting started?
And I agree. You know, it's something you got to come back to even once you're advanced. Part of having like a beginner's brain is going to be a solid strategy. But look, when starting, or more to the point, when not starting, because I think somebody who's asking this is somebody who's probably stuck in the starting blocks. The excuses that you're going to have, it's like resources available. It's I don't have the time. Like you get a full-time job, I don't have the time. I can't get it going. I don't have the money, right? And that I'm paycheck to paycheck, so I don't have the money. I don't have the experience. A Road Dogg, Karl, you guys have all this experience. I don't have that. I haven't built a 7-figure business. Contacts. Yeah, you know everybody. Everybody knows you. It's easy for you. You've lived in the same city forever, whatever. You know the guys at the oil and gas club. You know the guys at the yacht club. You know the guys at the chamber, the gals at the chamber. Expertise. Again, you've got a high level Road Dogg. You know how to drive traffic like a madman, right? KB, you've been business coaching forever. You guys have expertise that I don't have. You got the testimonials. I'm going to ask somebody to coach them, and I'm going to charge them X, call it $2,000 a month. I don't have the testimonials and the experience and they're going to ask me for clients that I've helped in the future and I don't have it. So you get it? Like they're going to go naturally to resources. And then they're going to, again, reasons come first, answers come second. So this is what's going to keep them stuck in the starting blocks. But the ultimate resource is resourcefulness. So what you've got to do, if I just described you, and by the way, you could be a year or two into this and not achieving, like let's say you're making 60 grand and the goal is 160, or you're making 160 and the goal is 360, or you're making 360 and the goal is 1.3 million, right? Well, what you've got to do is you got to put yourself into a state of determination. Like from a state of determination, you can accomplish anything. Right, like comes to mind. We talk about COVID, right? Like Maria Phillips. If you guys know the book, what is it? Body for Life. Bill Phillips wrote it. Loosely know him. His wife Maria Phillips. She weighs like 100 pounds less than him, and she literally carried him into the car and then into the hospital, right? Like, just shouldn't be possible. But at the end of the day, from a place of determination, in life and death, and if you know the story of Bill Phillips, which it's reasonably well documented right now, he nearly died. He had COVID pneumonia, and it was a place of hunger. It was a place of determination. And, she managed to carry him, which she shouldn't be able to do. Right. So like hunger, if you were to ask me, okay, so what's that state? Hunger. Again, we've talked about this many times on the podcast. Last time you asked me a similar question, I would have answered it in some way to say that hunger is the one that's going to get you there, and it's going to keep you there. Right. So and also, like, when you start, most people, it's like they start their business and they think that that's the goal, right? Like, that's the beginning. That's like your first step out of the running blocks and the 100-meter dash, right? Like, it's not the end. You haven't accomplished anything by starting. I'm sorry to tell you that. And well, you have, but it's important that you realize that, you're in the sandbox in a very real and tangible way. It's like, I talk about, if you're going to do live events, and that's a great strategy for you to follow, you're going to suck at the beginning and you're going to get really, really good at it really, really quickly if you completely immerse yourself. But don't book one event and report back and tell me how it went. Book 10 events and totally immerse yourself. Live events work, right? But it's about total mastery. If you were going to do 10 events, let's say in 20 weeks, that would not be dabbling. That would not be trying. That would be total immersion. Again, so you're going to have to push yourself. It's not going from idea to idea. It's about totally committing to something and pushing yourself. Hopefully, and again, booking 10 events in 20 weeks in order to do that is going to be bloody hard. If you want to learn French, you can go to class for an hour a day, or you can book yourself a flight to the middle of Paris. Which way is going to work better? And total immersion, dropping yourself in Paris, is the one that's going to work. There was an article, I think it's JP Morgan, something along those lines, and it recommended, rather than work 9 to 5, they recommend that their staff work 12 hours a day for 6 days a week, right? So rather than getting your 10,000 hours in 5 years, right, at 2,000 a year, you'd be able to get it done in 2.5 years. Like, you'd be accelerating your success. But there was a ton of uproar and backlash for the article that, they're going to be working too hard. They're going to burn out. You can't recommend that. It's dangerous, right? Like, you can't work that hard. And you can't work that hard. Says who? There's a price to be paid for greatness. LeBron, Michael, Kobe, Gretzky, Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Mary Lou Retton back in the day, Taylor Swift, Madonna, Michael Jackson, I don't know who, Zuckerberg, Gates, Buffett, Dalio, Jeff Bezos. Like, there's a price to be paid. You think these guys were out partying in their 20s? The ones out partying are the ones that had more talent but didn't make it, right? There's a price to be paid if you want to be a great business coach. And are you going to pay it? Are you going to be that also ran that, wondering why you're not getting anywhere? You're going to book one event, or you're going to book 10, and not book it, but completely immerse yourself, completely commit to getting those 10 events filled and done. Right? So are you going to be the guy or gal who starts as a business coach and says, I can't cold call? Like, that's not what I do. Those folks never make it, right? They self-talk themselves away from success. And it's not to say that you need to pick up the phone and cold call. It's the mindset of already deciding what you are and are not doing. They're defeated already. It's not about doing your best. It's not about working hard. It's about doing what it takes. It's about immersing yourself. It's dropping yourself in Paris versus going to French classes, right? So just think of a pro athlete at the gym, right, Road Dog? So that, if you want to be a successful business coach, you want to get out of the sandbox, you want to crush it, I really think that that's the mindset that you need. So, there's, strategies and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's, if you're working with our program, and if you're not, you're crazy. But the bottom line is, we've got the roadmap. We've got the strategy. We've got the step-by-step, do this, do that, use this software, ask these questions, pump out this roadmap with the algorithm, the 497 million weighted algorithms in the software, and follow that roadmap, and you'll do well. But it's just, will you, right? And you know this so well, Road Dog, right? It's when you did your marathon, right? It's a mindset. It had very little to do with whether or not you could run the 26 miles. It was about whether you were going to do it. You totally immersed yourself, and bingo, bango, bongo, and now you're doing another one. right? So that's what I'd say, Road Dog. That's I started with, it's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. If you don't think you have the time, you don't have the money, you don't have the expertise, you don't have the track record, then you're going to be right. But the trick is to go to a place of determination and hunger, and that's how you do it. So that's my answer, Shoots. What do you think?
I think we need to go down to Vegas and hang out with David Blaine. That's what I think. I think that would be cool. Then we will become full-blown magicians, and we can fulfill our childhood dreams. It would be amazing. The only thing I don't like is when he starts pulling the frog out of his mouth and stuff like that. That, to me, that's just beyond magic. Hey, listen, quick side note. This is just a like off-script question here, because one of our insiders was asking the question here when it comes to live events, because we push live events quite a bit, right? Like you and I both love live events. What would you consider the industry composition of the attendees to be? Like that's a typical question, right? Like, do you have anything in mind typically as you're doing a live event? Because I just think it's an important strategy for somebody getting going to get their first few clients. Who are you looking to fill the room with? Like, is there by industry? Like, how do you comprise that?
Yeah. So, okay. I'm similar to what I just said. You got to be hungry. I'm looking for people that have joined the chamber, have written a roughly $1,000 check to build their business. The guys advertising locally, online directory, the radio, the magazine, the newspaper, the coupon book, etc. Just all the advertising locally, the billboard as you're driving by the highway. These guys have written checks to build their business. Look at industry awards. So there's going to be there's all kinds of local awards that you have no idea of. And with a small, about 90 seconds of research online, you'll be able to find them. So let's say that there's 10 businesses nominated, 10 chiropractors, 10 florists, 10 florists, 10 dentists, etc., and then one wins. Well, you can call all 10 of them are obviously doing a good job and have a going concern, and these are good businesses. Well, I'd be calling them and saying, because, see, whenever you can bring a reason or a because frame, it's like, Road Dog, I'm inviting you because. Road Dog, I'm inviting you, and it's because you're a member of the chamber, because you're also a member of BNI, because you're also a member of the yacht club, because you're up for that award, because you won the award, because you came second, because you came third, because you were in the top 10. That's the reason. So I'm looking for businesses that have proven to be interested in growing, and those are the guys and gals that I'm putting in the room. So there's my answer. So it's not like chiropractor or dentist. And sorry, Road Dog, but also if you've been a really successful chiropractor, well, then you should be inviting chiropractors. If you've been a very successful dentist, or you've had success growing a dentist, or your wife is a dentist, or your best friend is a dentist, or a dentist and you know how they've grown their business, you take them out to dinner and you ask them all these different questions on what does and does not work, then you've got a reason to put a dentist in there, right? So that'd be my answer, Road Dog. I'm looking for people that have shown with their wallet and credit card that they're interested in growing.
Love it. Okay. Now, recently you talked about something but like distance, right? Once you become successful. This was a topic, and we got a lot of good feedback on that. In terms of just when you become successful, the importance of distance. So can you just talk about that again for a second? Because I know it was a popular one not that long ago.
Yeah, and I agree, and I saw that too. Look, there's going to be distance between you and your friends, your colleagues, as you become more and more successful, right? Different cars, different neighborhoods, different size house. Just think of the athlete. You're playing on the field and your friends are in the stands watching, right? There's 10, 20 feet between you, but there's a huge amount of distance where you're playing and they're watching, right? You're at the chamber and you're up speaking, and your wife and husband is in the crowd, or they're at home looking after the kids. That's distance. Or your friends are in the crowd, or people that know you are in the crowd. Like, that's distance, right? So you post on social and you get 100 comments, and then your friend posts on social and they get 3. Look, this is distance, right? You need to get comfortable with it, or you're going to self-sabotage. You're not going to quote unquote make it and be loved by everyone. Just not going to happen. I'm sorry. If you become super successful, uber successful, this is going to scare some people, but you'll have less friends, not more friends. That's a bit of a sweeping, but I got to tell you, I go speak to 10 people that you know that have really cracked it, and then ask them, right? And including those that are very, very close to you, right? So you got to stay hungry. You've got to rise above that sense of losing love, having love taken away from you. And it happens a little bit, but it's not permanent. But hopefully you get that. That's distance, right? But hunger, said it earlier, separates Michael Jordan from Iverson, right? Success as a business coach, it's about total immersion rather than dabbling. It's not to do well. Like, here's what a lot of coaches will do, or a lot of business people will do. They'll do well for a year, and then they repeat that same year for the next 9 years and call it 10 years of experience, right? Mastery, which I talk about all the time, is slight improvements every single day. The compounding effect of those daily wins, will literally blow your mind. And the really good news, progress equals happiness, right? Like Road Dogg literally finishes every podcast with basically that. Therefore, you're going to have a newfound sense of accomplishment that'll blow you away as you make those small, little, tiny wins, right? But the trick is to accept small improvements and not look for and expect the huge mountain-sized leaps, and then recognize them as progress only, right? It's tortoise versus the hare, right? Who wins? The tortoise. Like, what makes you feel alive? And that's Road Dogg, that's me, that's you, that's Tony Robbins, it's Ray Dalio, it's Warren Buffett. The answer is growth, right? What makes you feel alive is growth. But then what makes you feel like your life is meaningful, that your life matters, is contribution, right? So contribute to something bigger than yourself. That is why it's so much better. Like, it feels so much better at Christmas time to give a present versus receive one, right? So growth and contribution, those are the two needle movers. One makes you feel alive, and the other one makes you feel like your life matters. That can save a life. Like, no one would ever be depressed or suicidal if they felt growth and contribution on a regular, let's assume daily basis. No relationship ends that is growing consistently, right? The reason relationships end, marriages, is they get ridiculously stagnant. And again, marriages break up from lack of money significantly more than lack of love, right? But anyways, you should never sit at the table of success too long. It's a death knell for so many areas of your life. 1 year of success and repeat. You need that mastery. You need small daily improvements. It ends marriages, right? They don't grow and then they grow apart, right? But maybe back to, my wife was listening and knew I was giving out marriage advice. She might halt the whole thing. But look, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I've talked about my daughter, and we go sea-doing, and we have one rule when we go sea-doing: we go to the middle of the lake and we jump in, right? I'm trying to help her make hard decisions. She's scared and it's cold, and not a lot of the time, the majority of the time, she's like, let's do this next time, right? But she's comfortable on the sea-doo, and then the cold water in the middle of the lake, by the way, represents uncomfortable, right? So I'm trying to help her make hard decisions, right? Like get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You got to train your nervous system to do what's hard, and don't expect it to be easy, picking up the phone and filling that live event. It's going to be uncomfortable as hell. It's going to be like jumping in the lake. So there you go, Road Dogg. That's what that's the distance. I agree that is something that I hope everybody can take away and understand, that if you start running the live events and you start crushing it, and people start, like tagging you, like, you go to your personal Facebook page and people are like tagging you with your own quotes and things that, like, advice that you have given them, and stuff that you've done, like it creates distance. It's just a reality. So there you go, Shoots. That's the distance. I love it.
Also fear people retweeting something that I have said. Oh my God. That might be a horrific thing sometimes. Listen, I know that, we talk about obviously success and mindset and stuff like that a lot. Can you, and it's funny because, like, today you broke your own rule by bringing your dogs into your office this morning. And then, as you said, barking at exactly the wrong time. But when it comes to your morning and your rules and your routines and all of that, is there a plan, that's for someone that's interested in, business coaching and can use sort of to start their day?
Yeah. Okay. So question, a planned strategy to start the day. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is there sort of a framework, I guess, that you can share that will, I guess, maybe superpower, I guess, or get your well, let's face it, get your ass moving in the morning.
Yeah. Yes. How you start your day is how your day will end. Right. So do you have a plan for, like you said, I broke my own rule today, right? Which I seldom do, but whatever. But and if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. And there it was, right? And then of course the pug, who can hardly run, decides to run away from me. But do you have a plan for the AM, right? Like, do you stretch, work out, meditate? Or do you grab your phone and start reacting to other people's demands like text and emails, right? Like, it's tactical versus strategic kind of thing, just that's basic. You got to start your day with a plan. Get yourself physically and mentally into a peak performance state, like a state of determination, a state of hunger. I believe that hunger is the ultimate state. Do hard things in the morning, like lift weights or go for a run, and you will build momentum for the rest of the day. Um, and like so okay so like examples of things, maybe they could build your momentum outside of like lifting weights and going for a run, your physical body. I mean, this is an obvious, hopefully very obvious thing that you should be doing, right? But like things that make you feel stressed, right? So that could be cold calling. Well, pick up the damn phone and make a couple cold calls. Remember, Tony Robbins has made a cold call in the last 30 days. But the difference between the way he frames it and you feel like you're calling somebody to sell him something, and he's calling somebody because he's got something to offer. He wants to speak to somebody. He's not light on confidence, and you shouldn't be either. Don't call them to sell them. Call them because you got something to say. You got something to give. You got something to contribute. That's why you pick up the phone. So if cold calling stresses you out, every day, make 3 phone calls before 9 a.m. Watch what happens, right? Or things that make you feel like that you don't feel you're good enough to accomplish, right? Like, let's say helping somebody drive traffic online. Okay, that's not something you're comfortable with. Well, push yourself in the morning to do that for yourself or with and for your clients or somebody else. Or maybe something that you're worried might not work, right? Like starting an online conversation, right? Like, if you are a coach, people that follow Tony Robbins are interested in coaching. Well, you could go to what Tony Robbins posts and you're going to see, a few hundred comments. Join in the conversation and see if you can take one of those comments into a private message, into a consultation, into a client. Like, start it. And by the way, you're going to suck at it until you don't, and you'll get better at it. And what I just described, and actually Gary Vee refers it to, what does he refer to it as? The offer your 2 cents, maybe the $1.20 club or something like that. It's like offer your 2 cents 60 times a day, right? And then and just offer your 2 cents consistently throughout the day is what he's saying. And then you take it from that 2 cents to a private message, to a phone call, and you end up with some clients, right? Or you'll certainly end up with some conversations, which can lead to some referrals, which could lead to some joint ventures, which could lead to some speaking opportunities, et cetera, right? But you get this is bloody hard work, right? So, or maybe another thing is things that you feel might bring rejection, right? So that would be a sales call or speaking in public. That's doing a Facebook Live on Facebook, right? So do something like that where, again, and you're going to suck at it until you don't. So like do one. So what did I say? Like do something that makes you feel stress, like cold calling. Do something that you don't feel like you're good enough to accomplish, like helping somebody generate leads online. Do something that you're worried might not work, like starting online conversations and driving in the private messages. And then do something that you feel might bring rejection. And again, these is like jumping in the lake, right? These are things that you don't feel, that are going to take you into a place of uncomfortableness, and get comfortable with it, right? So that would be, and what might bring rejection would be like speaking in public, doing a sales call, or what did I say, a Facebook Live, right? Do one or all of those every day, and then just watch what happens. And doing all of them every day might be a little much, in that there's only so much time in the day, and you got to follow through on a lot of that stuff. But just watch what happens, right? Your newfound sense of quote unquote happy will blow your mind, because remember, progress equals happiness. If you're not afraid of the unknown, you are afraid of what you think the unknown is or what it will bring to you, right? Like rejection or a feeling of, not being enough, as an example. Just jump in the damn lake. I think it's a really great metaphor. And the only thing that's going to stop you is fear, right? The problem is it's natural to be fearful, but you probably feel like the average person feels like it would be unnatural to be fearful, but it's actually natural. Your brain is designed not to make you happy. It's designed to protect you, to keep you safe, right? So if you don't control it, it's constantly your spidey senses are out there looking for what might go wrong. Oh my gosh, what if they hang up? What if they're not interested? What if they, whatever, what if they reject me? What if they tell me to F off, right? So it's stopping you. It's stopping you from doing what you need to do, which really, again, coming back to our first question, Road Dog, which somebody who's looking to get started. And the person who's asking that question is somebody who can't get started, right? Like they're stuck in the sandbox. Their feet are stuck in the starting block. Remember, fear, it sends you to fight, flight, or freeze, right? Which one, right? People treat here's a good one, right? Like people treat social media like survival, right? Likes, comments, shares. If you don't get them, you feel like your survival is being jeopardized. And you don't feel that at a conscious level, you feel that at an unconscious level, right? And think about it, some handle it better than others. Young people are literally, they think that words can destroy them. It's insane. And it's insanely worrisome, quite frankly. Just watch the movie Social Dilemma. They basically made it addictive through dopamine triggers. And then they've got these algorithms to figure out what you believe, right? Well, then they send you stuff that aggravates you more. And they're literally sending you stuff that pisses you off because they know they know your reactions better than you do, sadly, right? And me too, and Road Dog. And your anger drives far more engagement than your interest. Or you tell me, right? Like think of the Donald Trump, Biden, and then the Clinton, just think about what that did online, right? Does anger drive more engagement, or does your interests like hockey, softball, golf, right? And so engagement drives eyeballs. Eyeball is how you sell advertising, and they make a ton of money. We're like rats, but we don't know we're in a cage getting monitored. What? If you haven't watched the movie, you got to watch the movie. You'll shake your freaking head. And remember, so then the good news is once you understand that, you got to learn to use tech versus tech using you, right? Like only click on I'm quite disciplined with this. I'm far, far, far from perfect, but I only click on things that I'm interested in. I only follow people that I enjoy and that are super positive or and putting cool stuff. If you're a jack off and you're like talking about a fight with your wife on social media, I'm unfriending you immediately. Do not pass go, right? So follow things that excite you. Follow awesome people. Actually, my daughter, my oldest daughter, one of her friends was Amanda Todd. If you don't know who that is, I guess that you would if you Googled her name. She was the third most Googled person the year that she committed suicide. I think it was Miley Cyrus twerking and the iPhone were number 1 and 2. And then she was number 3. Demi Lovato, Madonna, everyone got involved. And the bottom line's words destroyed her life, words online. And the story is more complex than that. The bottom line is it's a tad scary. And I remember driving Amanda Todd to cheer with my daughter Sarah, and it's just a sad situation. On a plus side, though, another friend of mine is Neil Bantelman. He got thrown in again, a worldwide case, or publicity worldwide, big time. You could look it up online for sure. He got thrown in jail for 10 years in Indonesia for molesting a kid in school. But it was just total insanity. And social media went a long, long way in helping him get out of jail. Otherwise, he'd still be there. I think he served 5 years or something crazy. They made a TV show about it. And the case was so utterly ridiculous. You just have no idea. Not surprisingly, it's Indonesia, third world country, and so a lot of money was involved. And wrong place, wrong time, bingo, bango, bongo. But so social media went a long way. If it wasn't for social, I could tell you that, again, he'd be sitting in jail. So it's got positives and it's got negatives. The bottom line is that our youth and us, we're seeing social and our survival instincts kick in. So when somebody else is getting likes and shares and comments and you're not, this jeopardizes your survival in a roundabout way, right? So you got to get out of your brain quickly. You got to train yourself to get away from anger and the past, which you can't change, If you drive looking in the rear view mirror, what's going to happen? You're going to get in an accident, right? You got to get into your conscious mind, right? You got to turn your pain into progress. Let me say that again. Turn your pain into progress. Most people turn their pain into a handbrake, into freezing, into stopping. And, think of your fear of cold calling as an example, or reaching out to somebody you don't know, or reaching out to somebody you open up. You see an advertisement, like a billboard on the side of the road, and you're like, oh my gosh, I could make that so much better. Well, your fear will stop them. Your fear of them, not responding will stop you from doing it. But make that the reason why you're going to do it, like jumping in the lake, right? So, and like, I keep coming back to my daughter jumping in the lake for some reason today, but like, you jump in the lake, and then and by the way, this is my youngest daughter. She's 8, right? She's not my older daughter. If I told her to jump in the middle of the lake, she'd tell me to jump in the lake and drive off with my C2, but whatever. But how does she feel when she jumps in the lake and then gets out? Like, I don't want to do it, Daddy. I don't want to do it. There's tears and everything else. Next thing you know, I jump in, she jumps in, we get out, she swims around the Sea-Doo. How do you think she feels, right? Like, her brain was telling her to freeze and to stop. And her conscious mind, took over and said, okay, I got to do it. I made a deal with Daddy, and this is the deal. When she gets out, how does she feel? Well, how are you going to feel after you make the call? After you speak to the girls at the chamber, you speak to the guy selling advertising, you speak to the accountant, etc. And remember, you're going to suck at it, and then you're going to get better at it, and then you're going to end up being good at it. Just like Usain Bolt at one stage, the kid, he learned how to walk, right? So think about how good it's going to feel to serve your clients, for them to realize their dreams, thanks to you, to get the referrals and to be recommended as a speaker at the chamber. Imagine like them asking you to speak as opposed to you asking them. Imagine like that. You talk about distance. That's the Grand Canyon. It's only slight, but it's a Grand Canyon in between. So how do you get there? You got to focus on contribution. You got to focus on what you can do for them as opposed to what you can do. And if you only focus on you are going to be miserable, right? If you just, anybody you show me, introduce me to somebody with depression, I will show you somebody who is totally fixated on themselves, right? So, what could you do? Go buy a coffee for somebody at Starbucks, or, get in the drive-thru at McDonald's and buy for the person behind you. They're going to feel great, but you're going to feel even better, and then make it into a habit, right? It's really small and easy, and it's 10, 20 bucks, whatever it is. Most people have like a super freeway to anger, and like one little thing sets them off. And I can, just to be clear here, I can totally be guilty of this, but then they got a dirty, bumpy road to happiness. You got a freeway to anger, and then you got a dirt, bumpy road to happiness, as in you never get there, right? They never allow themselves to experience happiness. And the bottom line, turn your business coaching into a game. That's what I want to sum this up. Turn your business coaching into a game. You don't want to lose your social soccer game, but you go out, you have a crack, and you accept the result, and you do what it takes in order to make it happen, right? Make business coaching a game. Faith unutilized becomes weak. Passion unutilized becomes weak. Courage unused literally disappears, right? Like, have you been utilizing your faith? Have you been utilizing your passions over the last 7 days? If I look at your calendar, what would it tell me? Your courage of jumping in the lake. Have you been exercising that? Or is that something that's diminishing, right? So, and then how do you do it? Just small actions every day. Get uncomfortable. You jump in the lake. It feels amazing afterwards. Such a small thing, picking up the phone and calling somebody. So Road Dog, that's what I'd say, buddy. But the big one, just fear. You gotta let the fear drive you as opposed to freeze you. That's what I want to say. What do you think?
So what you're saying in summary is make business coaching fun again.
There we go. Shoot. Get the hats.
Hey, listen, I want to share this because you talk about Gary Vee, right? So the 180 strategy, so close, you shortchanged me. So what it is, you find the 10 different hashtags within your niche and commenting on each of the top 9 posts. right? So the name itself comes from the term leaving your 2 cents. So in short, you go to Instagram, leave your 2 cents on the top 9 posts with 10 relevant hashtags. 2 cents by 9 times 10 is $1.80. So there you go, shoots. That's the $1.80 strategy right there. So there's a little homework for everybody.
Love it.
You like that?
I like it. I love it. Shoot.
Now, I know, I already know the answer to the next question. So it's sometimes hilarious why I even bother asking. But now, you talked about getting uncomfortable, making calls, doing presentations. The question is, how do you go from, I'm gonna insert a couple words here, Joe Schmo business coach, to a local, they put leader, but I'm gonna say legend. Like how do you become the go-to person locally?
Yeah. I'm gonna agree. Like, I like it. You know what I mean? Because I think that, again, you've got to. Okay, so why? Like, the Olympics just went by recently. Why did the Olympic record, the world records fall like nothing else? Because they're getting measured, right? So, like, if we all just jumped in the ocean and started swimming, we would have no idea as to what the fastest time is for the 100, 200, 400, 800, 1500, right? So, like, I want you to, like, what is your miles? What's your 100-meter dash? What's the finish line, right? And progress equals happiness. You got to recognize some success. So I like the idea of having the attitude that you're going to become the local go-to person. I think a good measuring stick is when you start getting called and asked for interviews and asked to speak at the chamber versus asking them. And that's not to say it's okay to be the person asking for now because you're in the sandbox, right? But, like, make that's when you know you're starting to make it, work towards that. So look, what makes a leader or the go-to business coach? It's the ability to influence. That's the person who's going to get asked to come and speak. You get your ability to influence others. If you do not put yourself out there, you're not going to be able to influence. If you're not willing to pick up the phone and to call the businesses that we talked about earlier and run the events with 4 to 10 people around breakfast that we teach in a program called Live Event Mastery that is literally bulletproof. It's literally how I built a $5.5 million coaching company. We used to do $400,000 a month in new small business coaching clients, and we did it with Live Event Mastery. Like that process, which, again, just giveaway is 4 to 25 people, but just go 4 to 10 for if you're not totally crushing it. 4 to 10 people around a breakfast table on a weekly basis. So we do, multiple free events on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Bottom line is that's what you want to be doing. If you're not going to do those, you're not going to build that influence. And remember, over time, you just get way better. You've got to accept the power of compounding, of your contacts, of your abilities, of the number of referrals that you're going to get, your ability to convert. Like when we do a live event, I've done 400 of them. You can imagine that there's a certain expectation I've got around conversions where the people, the decision makers in the room are just buying. Like, that's it, right? And I'm not going to do my best. I just do what it takes to make sure that they buy. But I've done it hundreds of times, right? So you got to be fair to yourself. I wasn't like, I'll give you the red hot tip. It was not like that at the beginning, not even bloody close, right? So, and by the way, so maybe if you can't influence yourself, like, you're the first person you got to influence, right? So again, my question is, did you do an event last week? Did you make the calls yesterday? Do you have the joint ventures in place? And there's a good chance that your answer is no. Okay, well, you're not influencing yourself. You've got to start there. And the good news, progress equals happiness. It's good. It's jumping in the lake. It's doing what's uncomfortable, but that's how you become the leader. That's how you become the go-to person. That's how you become, the guy, the gal, the business coach. But again, and by the way, and not only stretching yourself in that area, did you work out today? Did you stretch today? Did you, again, pick up those calls? Did you, try to form the JV? And, like, the answer is no, again, so it's not just about leading yourself in business. It's about leading yourself physically and mentally. Did you train? If I compare the way that you worked yesterday, did you look like a professional athlete? Did you look like Michael Jordan in the gym? Did you look like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant on the, on the basketball court and training on, Saturday morning before the Saturday night game? But good news, look, tomorrow's a new day, and small steps lead to giant wins and influence. So what is uncomfortable today will suddenly not be uncomfortable. So you got to come from a place of service. Come from a place of service, not selling as a framework. It's going to make it so much easier. Like, here's my question for you. Can you really help the clients of the accountant? And are you willing to are you willing to influence them and positively influence them, whether they pay you or not? Is that your attitude? When Tom Brady was a fourth string quarterback, was he worried about his contract? No, he was worried about his craft. He was worried about becoming the best. What he wanted, very importantly, what he wanted was a chance. And so should you, right? So when you call the accountant, you're not looking for him to introduce you to every person he ever met. You're looking for a chance. You're looking to get one snap in the fourth quarter, in garbage time, in a win or a loss, right? So I think that might help your mindset when you start thinking you're there to get a chance, right? You want to get given a chance by the accountant, the chamber, the local radio station. Be willing to prove yourself in training, right? And then how do you do that? You say, Mr. Accountant, take me for a test drive. Don't send me your best. Don't send me your worst. Send me 3 clients that you feel like, could use a little bit of help and a little bit of a kick in the pants. And let's measure. This is what I'm going to charge them. I'm $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month, whatever your fees are. Say, this is how much I'm going to charge them. Everybody will get a month-to-month money-back guarantee. So you could never be put, your relationship with them could never be put at risk. And at the end of 6 months, let's gauge how I do. I'll tell you, I'm not going to do my best. I'm going to do whatever it takes to change their life. But I want to prove that to you. Like, you see, so what you did is you asked the accountant to take you for a test drive as opposed to send me every person you ever met. Right? Ask him to put 5 people around a boardroom table, including himself, and then you come and do a presentation on Tuesday morning, and you buy breakfast and supply it to 5 of his clients, and do a presentation and see if he likes what you say and what you do. And he's taking you for a test drive. That's Tom Brady getting a chance, right, to throw the ball at game time. And train yourself to move, right? You don't rise up to your level of expectations or hopes. You fall back to your level of training, right? You don't rise up to your level of expectations or hope. You fall back to your level of training. So again, how much training have you done over the last week, month, 3 months? Okay, well, there's a really good chance that's your problem. Remember, actors that think about all the auditions, they stay waitresses and waiters, right? Tom Cruise, Jim Carrey, the best actors of our time, Julia Roberts, I don't know, whoever, I don't know, the best actors, they were honing their craft. They weren't fixated on the number of auditions they did, and surely they did a lot of auditions, but they were more interested in becoming the best, right? So, I don't know, maybe like action steps. Like, we want to crush this. Every day, let's try to do this. Feed and strengthen your mind every single day. Okay, so let's read, audio, video, training. It's podcasts like this, right? So every day, feed and strengthen your mind. 2, every day, feed and strengthen your body. How do you do that? Work out, meditate, eat well, hydrate, whatever, like drink a bucket load of, I don't think you could drink enough water in a day. Hydrate your body. And do it every single day. What am I at here? I think that's 2, 3. Find a role model or a community of successful people in your niche. And that would be my community if you're a business coach, cough, cough. But find yourself a role model, find yourself a community where people are pushing one another and helping one another and giving, giving, giving. And by the way, when you participate in that community, I can tell you with 100% certainty, my most active clients, the ones that give the most, are not surprisingly the ones that are most successful. So don't only, it's funner to give than to receive. If you really want to receive, you start giving, 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 and then watch what happens. What was that, road dog? 3, 4, give more than you expect to receive. Maybe I just covered that a little bit, but you'll get better by doing, by totally immersing yourself. So you can't be a kick-ass coach if you're not coaching anybody. Right? So, but basically just always, again, when you call the accountant, whether they do business or recommend anybody, make it your mission to improve their life. When you call somebody because they get a billboard on the side of the road and it sucks, make your mission to help them, to guide them, whether they pay you or not, right? Believe me, karma is a bitch, and it's also a wonderful, wonderful thing. The rule of reciprocity will work in your favor. So just, every day, what I say, feed and strengthen your mind, feed and strengthen your body. Then find role model, a role model or a community of successful people to hang around with that will push you and you push them. Give, give, give. And then again, give more than you expect to receive in any given situation. Whether you're, again, when you do a talk at the chamber, give everything. Don't do the clickbait, dangle carrots, dangle carrots. If they don't buy from you, they leave going, wow, that was a show. And don't expect to start there. That's why you got to do 10. Your 10th event is going to be so much better than your first event, right? And and again, making sure that you're measuring everything and taking your data, making sure that you're improving your conversions. But the better you get at it, guys, the better you're going to do, right? And just the better coach you become, the more clients you're going to get. Or maybe here's another so here's a formula just for flat out. So you've already you're like Road Dogg and you hit the gym every day religiously, and that's just not, he eats well, he hydrates himself well. What about just flat out working, right? Here's maybe think about this. I want you to outwork the local competition. Think of Kobe Bryant, think of Michael Jordan, outwork. At the end of the day, are you knackered, right? If you have a problem sleeping, you're not working hard enough. I have absolutely no problem sleeping whatsoever. 8 o'clock, 9, or whatever the time is, 9 o'clock roughly. I'm out. I am out, but I'm working my butt off, including on, the weekends, but not at the expense of my family time, but I'm working my butt off. So number one is outwork the competition. Number two would be out improve. Okay. Kind of touched on that, but feed your mind, right? Again, audio, video, podcasts like this. And don't just look there's some super donkeys out there providing advice that's just so lame. It's why, what's that stupid, Road Dogg, what's that, audio, thing that just, it came and it was the biggest thing ever. It was radio.
Clubhouse.
What is it?
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. That's it, right? This is so stupid. People are on there doing 3-hour talks. If a guy's doing a 3-hour talk, how do you think he's going to provide? He's just talking, right? It's back and forth. It's like talkback radio. If the guy says something interesting, go to a 30-minute YouTube clip of him. Go watch Tony Robbins' TED Talk as an example. That's his best stuff in 20 minutes right there, where you could learn. You should watch that 20 times. He's got a TED Talk. It's unbelievable, right? It's his best stuff. So anyways, out improve. But don't just go listen to crap for the sake of it. Follow people that know what they're talking about, and ideally, leaders in your niche, right? That have a proven track record, right? Not influencers. And if they're farting around on Facebook too much, right, back and forth, you pretty much be guaranteed that they might not be the person for you to follow. But do your homework, right? So out improve. The way you do that, don't be the actor going to the auditions, be the actor honing their craft, the Jim Carrey, Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, etc. Out strategize. Again, if you're a business coach, and I've said this so many times, but I'm going to say it again, we have a program called Live Event Mastery. You just follow Live Event Mastery. That's the strategy. But the mistake is they do one event, you do 3 events, and then you report back as though you're deciding whether you're going to keep doing it. This is the person who's not successful. Totally immerse yourself. When you get out of a plane in Paris and you start thinking about whether or not this is going to work for you, and if you can start, if you start talking English, in other words, this is not, that's strategy sucks. You just ruined your own strategy. So when I say out strategize, get a formula that works. Example, doing live events with 4 to 10 people around a breakfast table at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday, and just commit to doing 10 of them, and more to the point, doing 100 of them, just every week, every second week, every month, if that's all you can muster, but that's not good enough. I'd be doing it every 2 weeks, and you'll have to have coaches working for you, etc. Anyway, so 3, out strategize, have a strategy, and maybe your play is online, and maybe it's driving traffic online, whatever it is, but out strategize. And then maybe I got to finish. I had 3, but I think 4, I want to say outlast, right? Again, why don't coaches make it? Because they quit. Nobody doesn't make it. They quit, right? I just never quit. believe me, I had bumps and bruises and everything else. And now I'm close to 2 decades into this doing the same thing. Like, you'd hope I'm bloody good at it, right? Like, I've done the same thing for 20 years. And by the way, and you haven't most likely, but that's the kind of commitment that I want you to have. Warren Buffett doesn't invest in a company that he doesn't want to own for 10 years, right? Jeff Bezos doesn't put anything in place in the company that he doesn't plan to, have around for 10 years. And he also doesn't plan to make money for a period of years. And he's okay with that, right? Anyway, so outlast. You don't fail as a business coach. You just quit. That's it. You do the live event and then you quit. You drive traffic online and then you quit. You just, whatever it is, so outlast them. Just commit to not quit. That's it. Like, have a 10-year plan instead of a 10-week plan or a 10-day plan or a 10-hour plan. Like, I think, again, folks have, and you crush it. So Road Dog, that's how I'm going to answer that one. But I outwork, out improve, out strategize, and then not quit, or maybe we'll keep the outlast. So there you go, Shoots. What do you think?
Well, I got a question for you. Of everything you just said, what's the one piece I'm going to pull out of that and question you on? Julia Roberts. That's what? Your go-to? Yeah, Julia Roberts.
What?
That's your lead actress, hey? Wow. Okay. I thought you're more of a Molly Ringwald type of a guy. That's
red hair.
Right?
You like red hair, Shoots. What's pretty? Hang on, Pretty in Pink. No, that's not. 16 Candles. Boom. There you go.
Some Kind of Wonderful, right? Listen, bud. 80s movies. We could do this all day long. And by the way, if anyone could do a 3-hour Clubhouse, it's definitely. Again, if you let me speak for longer than 30 seconds, king of all rabbit holes, KB would go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. You could be there all day, Shoots. But you know what you are? You are too disciplined to do it, so I applaud you. Listen, what's the one piece? Would you say that was it right there? Like, just your formula?
Don't just outlaw again. Just commit to like again. If you get off the plane in Paris, how long is it going to take you to start speaking English, right? And if you refuse to speak English, we don't need to watch you. You're going to learn French, right? But if you're gonna, fall back and start speaking English, if you're gonna have a fallback, you might still get there. But my question is, are you gonna quit? Right? So that outlast. Just don't. No business coach fails; they just quit. And if you refuse to quit, but don't just be, stupid. Wake up and just, respond. And you know what I mean? Like, you got to have a strategy, right? And the strategy, again, comes back a little bit to Jim Carrey and Tom Cruise. Are you doing auditions all day, or are you honing your craft? Are you becoming the best? Again, the best homework a business coach could ever done. I've said this 1,000 times, but what you do is you pick a niche, okay? Call it a chiropractor, dentist, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, whatever your stick is, somewhere where you have experience, and basically write down 50 ways that you can help X. Okay, so I've actually done one of my first ever, I do a daily email that most people probably heard of. And one of the first ones that I did, I think it's day 8 or 9, 7 and 8, 8 or 9, but you just go Karl Bryan restaurant case study, and you will see I have written, I don't know how many, but let's call it 50 ways to help a restaurant. So, and hopefully you won't just use that. What I'd like you to do is go dentist, go chiropractor, go whatever, and then write down 50 ways that you're going to help XYZ niche. Okay, so the landscaper. And then the next day, you are going to be so excited to call a landscaper, get the accountant to introduce you to a landscaper, to get the chamber gals to recommend you to the landscaper, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, if the guy does 3 of these 50, we're going to crush it. If he does 10 of these 50, I'm going to change this guy's life. Right? So you'd be so enthusiastic. So that comes to the Jim Carrey training as opposed to doing the audition. So outlast. So not just being scrambling around like a dog chasing his tail, being smart about what you're doing. So you outwork them, out improve them, out strategize them, but then don't quit. Just 10-year commitment. So that's what I'm going to say, Shoots. That's what I'm going to say.
And listen, if you're in the candle maker niche, I can promise you, you're there all alone, right? Like, I know you keep saying it. You could become the expert in the candle maker niche. So there you go. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the candlestick maker on top of the hill, King Karl. And if you're not on the inside getting access to the pre-show, or you aren't getting Karl's daily emails that he just referenced, while you're Googling the restaurant case study, go ahead and just sign up and at focused.com and subscribe to that today. Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, please share with a fellow coach or someone you think that might make a great coach. And of course, if you like what you heard, please leave us a review. And that is it for another week. And remember, folks, progress equals happiness. We'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.